Most guys think attraction is about looks, money, or saying the perfect pickup line. But the truth is the strongest attraction happens in the mind. It's how you speak. It's how you carry your words. And sometimes, just one sentence, one unexpected phrase can shift everything. You say it, and suddenly her posture changes. She leans in. She listens closer. She starts seeing you not as a guy she met, but as someone she feels. Because words that create instant attraction don't sound like pickup lines. They sound real, intentional. They don't seek attention, they hold presence. And when you say them with the right tone, from the right place, they hit deeper than charm ever could. In this video, I'll show you 3 magnetic phrases that go straight past her defenses and create that quiet moment where she thinks, wait, who is this guy? You ever notice how some people have this mysterious way of pulling you in without even trying? They'll say something, just a hint, and stop themselves. No explanation, no punchline, and suddenly your brain is hooked. You need to know more. That's not magic. That's psychology. We call this the unfinished thought. And when used right, it becomes a powerful trigger of attraction. Because it taps into a hardwired instinct, curiosity. The mind hates open loops. When someone starts a story and doesn't finish it, your brain starts filling in the gaps, replaying the moment, imagining the ending. You don't just remember them, you obsess over them. And that's where the magic begins. Here's how it plays out in real life. You're talking to a girl. She says something interesting, maybe she mentions her love for old-school vinyl records. Instead of nodding and asking her favorite artist, you go, "You actually remind me of someone I used to know, but never mind." Boom. She's alert, curious. Her eyes lock in. Wait, who? And just like that, the dynamic shifts. She's now the one chasing clarity, and you're leading with mystery. But here's the key, it has to be subtle, natural, not scripted. The moment it sounds like a line, it dies. It's not about being clever. It's about creating emotional tension, the kind that builds naturally when someone feels like they're close to something, but not quite there yet. Let me give you a real case. One of my clients, Ryan, used this in a casual conversation with a woman he met at a bookstore. They were chatting about travel, and he said, "You'd probably love this one place I went to, but nah, you're probably not that type." She blinked. What place? She couldn't let it go. Later she told him, "I was dying to know what you meant by that." That was the moment her interest shifted from polite to personal. You can drop this in 100 different ways. You remind me of someone, but not in the way you think. There's something about your energy, it's familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. The way you said that, never mind. I overthink. Each of these phrases opens a psychological loop, and that loop makes you more memorable, more intriguing, and far more attractive than any pickup line ever could. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about playing games. It's about leading a conversation with emotion instead of facts. It's about speaking to the part of her that's feeling, not analyzing. Because the truth is, attraction isn't logical. It's instinctive. And curiosity is the foot in the door. Most guys try to impress with facts. Job titles, gym routines, travel stories. But none of that hits the heart the way mystery does. You want to make her feel something she doesn't even understand yet. That's what the unfinished thought creates, a space where attraction can grow, not through words, but through emotional momentum. So next time you're talking to a woman, don't rush to fill the silence. Let a moment hang. Say less. Leave a phrase unfinished. Then pivot casually. And when she leans in, when her curiosity ignites, that's when you know it worked. And before we move to the second phrase, quick moment. If you're finding value in this, drop a like and share this with someone who could use it. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever used subtle mystery to spark attraction? I read everything, and the best story might end up in the next video. It's not a compliment. It's a challenge. It's not flirty. It's layered. It's not said to get a reaction. It's said when you've already gotten one, and you're just letting her feel it. Let's paint the picture. You're mid-conversation. Maybe she's teasing you a little, being playful, testing you. She's got that smirk on her face like she's fully in control of the energy. And then, you smile. You tilt your head just slightly, hold eye contact a second longer than usual, and say calmly, "Careful, you're kind of addictive." But you don't laugh after. You don't wink. You let it land, like it wasn't a line, but an observation. Like you noticed something about her energy and decided to speak it out loud. In that moment, it shatters her rhythm. Because she doesn't know what you mean, not exactly. Addictive. How? Is that a compliment? Are you serious? Are you teasing her back? Is she in control, or are you? That's the beauty of this phrase. It lives in ambiguity. And ambiguity is attractive when handled with emotional control. This isn't about playing games. This is about shifting polarity. You're showing her that you're responsive, emotionally aware, and slightly unpredictable. Not unstable. Just unreadable in the right way. Women are used to compliments. You're beautiful. You're so hot. You're amazing. Those words slide right off the surface. They're expected. They're forgettable. But tell a woman careful, you're kind of addictive? Now she's thinking. Not because she needs your approval, but because you flipped the dynamic. You didn't just place her on a pedestal. You warned her playfully that her presence is felt, but that it might have consequences. That word careful is doing all the work. It's playful, slightly protective, slightly dangerous. It tells her, you're good, but I'm not sure you know what you're doing. It says, I'm not afraid of you, but I see what you're doing and I'm watching. It activates tension, curiosity, and that deep feminine instinct to test just a little more. Here's what happens next. She'll either laugh, go quiet, or try to challenge you. That sounds like something you've said to 100 girls. Maybe you're the addictive one. Don't get ahead of yourself. Perfect. Because now she's engaging you emotionally, not logically. Now she's reacting to the tone, not the words. And if she reacts, it means she felt something. Let me give you an example. One guy I coached, Daniel, used this exact phrase with a woman who was constantly in control. She was sarcastic, clever, witty. No guy ever fazed her. But after a few rounds of banter, he looked at her deadpan and said, "Careful, you're kind of addictive." Then he just sipped his drink. No grin, no validation. And she froze. Then she smiled, that smile that says, "I just got caught." The rest of the night? She leaned in. She asked questions. She softened. Why? Because for once, someone acknowledged her power and matched it. It's not about overpowering her. It's about making her feel seen, felt, and checked in the best possible way. And that's where most men fail. They think attraction is either be nice or be alpha. But it's neither. It's about energy tension and the willingness to speak what's real without pushing or proving. Careful, you're kind of addictive works because it says, "I like what I see, but I know how this game works." It says, "You're good, but I've been here before." It creates a moment where she feels your energy shift from neutral to charged and then pull back. That emotional whiplash? That's what imprints. It's the moment she goes from, "He's cool," to, "Wait, who is this guy?" So say it at the right moment. Say it with eye contact. Say it without neediness, without smiling too big. And then move on. Let her sit in it. That's where the attraction builds. Not in chasing, but in dropping energy and walking away. And don't overuse it. This isn't a line. It's a moment. Used too often, it loses power. But used right, once, at the perfect time, it makes her question everything she thought about you in the best way. You say it when the moment's quiet. Not when she's laughing or showing off or telling a wild story, but right after. When the energy drops for just a second and you feel her start to reach for validation. She might not even realize she's doing it. She's used to being around guys who feed off her charm, who reward her for performance. So she's giving you the best version of her. The polished version. The curated version. And you watch her, not judging, just noticing. And when the time's right, you say it. Calmly. Not as a criticism. Not as a compliment. Just as a truth. You don't have to impress me. Just be real. And then you leave space. You let it land. And it does. Hard. Because no one ever says that to her. Not like that. Not with that tone. Not without an agenda. It's like you just pulled the rug out from under the performance. And instead of falling, she relaxes. She lets out this breath she didn't know she was holding. Because in that moment, you gave her something she didn't expect. Permission to stop performing. Most women, especially the beautiful, magnetic, confident ones, never get that. They live in a world of attention and expectations. Every guy either wants to win them or control them. But you're not asking for either. You're just asking for her. Not her mask. Not her story. Just her. And that phrase, spoken with presence, cuts through everything. It says more than hours of conversation. It shows her you're not here to be entertained. You're here to connect. Not to own. To understand. And when she feels that, something inside her softens. Something opens. She might blink a little faster. She might look away. She might laugh awkwardly or try to deflect. What do you mean? But now she's off script. And that's the goal. Because now she's thinking, feeling, not about you, about herself. about how rare it is to feel safe in someone's presence without having to be on. And that kind of space? It's addictive, not because it flatters her, but because it sets her free. She starts showing you things without meaning to, little pieces of who she really is, her awkwardness, her doubts, her hope, and you don't even have to say much after that. You already said the thing. You already created the frame. The energy does the rest. Because now, every time she's around you, something inside her quiets down. The performance fades. The pressure drops. And what's left? You and her. Not the version she built for the world. Just the version that wants to be met. And all because you said one sentence and meant it. You don't say it with heat. You don't say it to hurt. You say it like it's just a fact about how you live. The moment the energy shifts, when she starts getting distant, vague, a little colder, maybe testing to see if you'll chase, that's when you drop it. No drama. No tone. Just, I don't chase energy. I match it or leave it. And then silence. You let it sit. You don't follow it up with a speech. You don't try to explain. Because the moment you do, you lose the power behind it. The magic of this phrase is that it flips the frame. You're not reacting to her shift. You're naming it. And not as a complaint, but as a standard. She expects you to keep pushing. Keep trying. Keep proving you're different. But what you give her instead is stillness. Control. A line in the sand drawn without raising your voice. And that hits different. Because most guys don't have the balls to do it. They either collapse and disappear, or they get emotional and chase. But when you calmly state your boundary, without flinching, you become the one in control of the vibe. You're not trying to convince her to like you. You're offering alignment. And if it's not there, you're willing to walk away. And that's powerful. That's rare. Because in a world where everyone is desperate to be liked, the man who is selective stands out. The man who's not addicted to attention, not fearful of silence, becomes the one she thinks about after you're gone. Not because you played hard to get, but because you were hard to shake. And here's the thing. She may not react in that moment. She may brush it off, laugh, change the subject. But inside, she'll remember. Because deep down, women are drawn to men who hold the frame, even when it's uncomfortable. This phrase doesn't just communicate strength. It communicates emotional clarity. It says, I know how I deserve to feel. And if I'm not getting that, I'm not here to beg for it. That's not cold. That's not rude. That's self-respect. And self-respect is a magnet, not to everyone, but to the right woman. It hits like a wave. And that's the secret. You're not here to win her over. You're here to protect your energy. You're not here to prove your worth. You're here to feel connection, not force it. And this phrase reminds her that you're watching how she shows up, just as much as she's watching you. That you're not reacting. You're responding. Calmly, firmly, unapologetically. And that's where power lives. You say it once. You don't repeat it. You don't explain it. And if she meets you there, if she adjusts, softens, re-engages, you keep going. If she doesn't, you leave. Simple, clean, free, and most importantly, real. You don't say it early. You don't say it when she's being playful or bragging or scrolling her phone. You wait for that moment when she drops her guard, just a little. Maybe she talks about something from her past, or something that makes her eyes flicker, or her voice drop just a few decibels. Maybe she tells you a story she doesn't share with everyone. Not dramatic, just real, vulnerable, maybe even accidentally. And instead of giving her advice, or trying to sound smart, or matching it with your own story, you just stay still. You lock in. You let her words breathe. And then, with calm energy and no expectation, you say it. It feels like you see things most people miss. That's it. Just one sentence. But that sentence carries weight. Because you didn't just compliment her. You reflected her. You gave her a mirror she's not used to seeing herself in. A mirror that doesn't show looks for charm or performance, but depth, sensitivity, awareness. And here's the real secret. That kind of reflection doesn't just make her feel good. It makes her feel safe. Emotionally safe. Which to a woman is the most powerful feeling in the world. Way stronger than being told she's hot. Way deeper than flirting. When you say that line with the right energy, low tone, grounded vibe, it opens something inside her. It activates a trust mechanism. Not because she knows you deeply yet, but because you showed her you're paying attention to the right things. That you're not focused on impressing. You're focused on understanding. That you noticed what most guys overlook. And that kind of noticing? It hits like lightning. She may blink a little faster. Her breath might catch. She may look away and laugh it off. Or she may go quiet and lean in, because now she feels seen, not for what she shows, but for what she hides. And once that door opens, it doesn't close easily. I once worked with a guy named Leo. He was charismatic, smooth, funny. Women liked him, but it never went deeper. Until one day, on a date with a girl who was talking about her tendency to overthink everything, he paused, looked her in the eye, and said, "You probably exhaust yourself trying to read people all the time, huh?" She froze, eyes wide, then said, "How did you know that?" That wasn't a guess. That was emotional awareness. And it changed everything. They talked for 4 hours. 2 years later, they're still together. Not because he used a tactic, but because he saw the part of her that no one else paid attention to. You want to be remembered? Be the man who notices her patterns, not just her profile. The one who reflects her thoughts back to her in ways she's never framed them. That doesn't mean you act like a therapist. It means you listen differently. And you respond with care, with insight, with no need to gain anything. Because when a woman feels like you understand her inner world, without trying to fix it, or label it, or own it, she bonds deeply. This is what real emotional attraction looks like. It's not loud. It doesn't shout for attention. It just resonates. Long after the moment is past. Long after the night is over. Long after you've stopped texting. Because what you gave her wasn't a performance. It was a presence. So next time you feel her shift into something real, don't rush it. Don't chase it. Just honor it. And when the time's right, drop a line like, "Most people miss that about you, but it stood out to me." Or, "I get the sense you notice everything, even if you don't say it." Or simply, "You feel familiar in a way I can't explain." Those lines don't flatter. They echo. And echoes last. You don't need to memorize lines. You don't need to act. You just need to mean what you say, and say it with presence. These phrases work not because they're clever, but because they come from a place of clarity. They carry energy. Calm energy. The kind that doesn't chase attention but pulls it naturally. The kind that doesn't perform but invites. That's what most people miss. Attraction isn't always loud. The strongest tension often happens in silence. Between words. In the way someone feels seen without being studied. Understood without being analyzed. Safe without losing excitement. Each of these phrases creates a shift. Not because of the words alone, but because of what they reveal. You notice. You're not afraid of emotional weight. You're not rushing to fill every second with noise. You speak when it matters, and that's rare. That's what makes people remember you. Not because you were the loudest in the room, but because your presence stayed long after you left. And in the end, that's what it's really about. You're not trying to be unforgettable. You just are. Quietly. Consistently. Completely.